Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this evening? Good evening, Pastor Bettina. Good evening, Danielle, and good evening, Daisy. I pray that all of you are doing well on this evening, this last Monday in the month of November. I tell you, this year has gone by so fast. I don't know. Um, how it just seemed like it started. Hello, Troy. It sounded like it started out, and next thing you know, we almost at the end of the year. I apologize if my voice sounds a little froggy, but I have been dealing with since Sunday after service. I've been dealing with a little nasal and sore throat kind of thing going on. I don't know what's. Hello, Carlton. I don't know what it is that is. There's something that's going around, flu, RSV, COVID, influenza, all kinds of stuff going on. And so, but I do know it's not COVID, and I know it's not RSV. So, but endeavor to still continue to win in spite of. It's one of the things I want us to talk. I want to say on tonight that I am winning in spite of. How you doing, Henrietta? Even though the body may not be at 100% in the natural, I thank God that I am able to still vocalize my words on tonight, and I thank you for joining me. So once again, if my voice is a little raspy or a little sound a little nasal, you'll understand why. All righty. So tonight I want to, if you can see that's going across the the bottom of the screen, it says the Deliverance of Faith. And the title may be a little deceiving, but when we get into it, you'll understand what we mean by the deliverance of faith. And I want us to look at Joshua. I talked about this a little bit on Sunday when I talked about Rahab, but I want to look at Joshua chapter 2, verse 8 through 14. And it reads, "Now before the two men lay down to sleep," this is the Amplified version, "Rahab came up to them on the roof, and she said to the men, 'I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that the terror and the dread of you have fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land have melted in despair because you, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the two kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan on the east side, the Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. When we heard it, our hearts melted in despair, and a fighting spirit no longer remained in any men because of you." I thought this was interesting because it said, "And a fighting spirit no longer remained in any of the men because of what had happened and what Joshua and them had done and Israel had done prior to to uh, getting to the wall." And so I thought it was really interesting that they said that they're fighting. So to me, what it implicates to me is that the wall of Jericho were already in despair before it ever fell down, because it said the men had lost their fighting spirit because of what they had heard. They had never fought a battle with Israel. They had not had any encounter with Israel. They just know Israel was on the way, but they heard about what Israel had done to the Amorites, to the Sihon and Og, and the kings of Sihon and Og, and they was already terrified of what was going to happen. So I thought it was interesting that even though there had not been a fight, the evidence of what God's hand on them had shown the other people because of what they had heard. Oh, that's good right there. Because a lot of times, what you're going to experience in this season is you're not going to even have to worry about fighting or defending for yourself. The things that God has done in your life up to this point is going to speak volumes for you in the future. I need you to hear me. The things that God has done for you up to this point is going to speak volumes for you in the future. People are already going to recognize who you are because of whose you are. They're going to already recognize the favor of God on your life because of all the things that God has done in your life. They're going to already understand that God blesses you because of the blessings that are on your life. And when I talk about blessings, I'm not talking, how you doing, Tina? I'm not just talking about material things. I'm talking about, even though you may go through something, you're still victorious even in your going through. And that's the thing. That's why, I learned from my spiritual father, who always, and my mentor, he always says, I'm winning in spite of. And I used to didn't understand that. I said, okay, you're sick, you got these things going on. But what I finally realized, what he was saying was, in spite of what is going on in my life right now, I'm winning. I haven't won yet, but I'm winning. I'm going to win. I'm in the process of winning. Right now, I'm in a place where I'm dealing with stuff, but I'm victorious in the midst of what's going on right now. Yes, right, Daisy. That's it. Even though I'm winning in spite of, the doctor's report, I'm winning in spite of, I'm going through some situation, relationship, whatever, finances, but I'm winning, excuse me, in spite of. So I thought that was really interesting. And so let me carry on. And for the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath. So they already recognize, Rahab recognizes, and the people of Jericho recognize that Israel's God is God, not only God of heaven, but of God of the earth and beneath the earth. And now, please swear an oath to me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you also will show kindness to my father's household, family, and give me a pledge of truth and faithfulness, and spare my father and my mother and my brothers and my sister, along with everyone who belongs to them. See, I love what Rahab did. Rahab was not a selfish person. She didn't just say, save me because I'm the one that's hiding you guys. She didn't say, just save me or whoever is in my house right now. She made sure, because I'm thinking about when they talked about God, Sodom and Gomorrah, if it would be for 10, if you'd asked for more, it would have been more. She made sure she covered everybody. She said, spare my mother, spare my father, spare my brothers, spare my sisters. And not only that, but everyone that belongs to them, their slaves, whoever is belonging to that household, or whoever belongs to my brothers and my sisters, my father and my mother, I want you to save them and let us alone all live. He said, I want all of us to live. And that's how we have to be in this season. We have to be in a place where we're not just comfortable with just us getting in, but we need to be more concerned about everybody getting in. And I think it's more important that we get to this point in this season. So let me go on. So the men said to her, our lives for yours, if you do not tell anyone about the business of ours. And then when the Lord gives us the land, we will show you kindness and faithfulness and keep our agreement with you. He said, as long as you don't snitch on us, as long as you don't tell them we're hiding up here on your roof, as long as you don't tell them what we came in to do, as long as you don't tell them how we here, we're going to keep our oath to you, as long as you are faithful and to what you said you're going to do on your side. And I thought it was interesting. It goes back to the thing, this season we talk about SOS, and it's kind of got glazed over, and we kind of like pushed it to the background because of a lot of other things, but it is still the prevalent thing. Servanthood, I'm sowing obedience and servanthood. When you look at this story, this is an SOS right here. It's she's sowing into the lives of these two men who have came to spy out the land for Joshua. And she's saying, hey, look, I'm going to keep you. I'm going to sow you in safety. I'm going to keep you in safety. And then they say, well, we're going to go, but we're going to make sure that you don't tell nobody about what's going on. And so she said, I'm going to be obedient. I'm not going to tell nobody about anything. And so that I can be safe, and all of those are with me. So, because whenever we talk about Rahab and it's mentioned in scripture, it's usually recorded that she was a harlot. That's all we talk about. Rahab the harlot, that was her reputation. She was a harlot. In other words, she was a prostitute. That's what she was. But it's amazing to me, and I spoke about this on Sunday, that her position in Jericho, her position in the city was in the wall, in which they could go down the wall and be out of the city. I thought it was so interesting, and that where she was located, if she hung the red out the wall, that they would be able to see it and recognized, don't touch that. Because I'm sure Joshua went back and told all the men, hey, when we walk into Jericho, don't mess with that red. Don't mess with that. And that's over there. And it's right there on the wall. And I think it's amazing how God can position us in a place, and we don't even know we're in the position until the situation comes around where we are is a place we need to be. So we always look at her as a prostitute, as a harlot, and that was her reputation. Sometimes people won't let us live down our reputation, things that we've done. And that's how she earned her income. That's how she made her living. But there is a bigger picture to her life. Whenever you think of her, we should remember that she was a woman who received divine deliverance. She was a woman who was not an Israelite. She was not a Jewish person, but she received divine deliverance because of what she did for the two spies. She received divine deliverance. She made sure to let us know where God made sure to let us know where she had come from. As this sent a powerful message, I need you to hear me. It sent a powerful message to each of us that no matter what our history might be, God can use us. No matter what our history can be, God can use us. I need you to hear me on tonight, because a lot of people have sold you a bad bag of goods, or however it goes, in the sense that they told you, well, you was this, so you'll never be able to be that. You did this, so you'll never be able to do that. You'll do this, and you'll never be able to serve God. I know how it is. I've been in a situation where people told me because of what I did, well, I was not able to serve God because of what I did. This is the most you're ever going to be able to do. You're going to be able to come to church and hear the word, but you'll never be in leadership. You'll never be in position. This is all you're going to be able to do because of what you have done, or because of what you have done, or because of what you're coming out of. And God, in this context, is showing us how, regardless of what our history is, or regardless of what our history might be, he can still use us. So although she was a harlot, a resident of the pagan city of Jericho, Rahab believed in God, and she became an agent of deliverance. Even though she was in a pagan city, but she believed in God, and she became an agent of deliverance. What are you talking about? She delivered the spies out of the Jericho so they could go back to report to Joshua. When Rahab met the spies from Israel, she took them, she extracted a promise from them because she believed in God of Israel. She showed her faith by protecting them from the authorities of Jericho. In return, they promised that God would not only deliver Rahab and her family spiritually, but also from the circumstances of their lives. So not only were they going to be delivered from that spiritually, but they were going to be delivered from the circumstances of their lives. So what am I talking about? They were going to be delivered out of a fallen city, out of a city that was now going to become captive, out of a city who has now no longer have the great walls, no longer have the great reputation. She's going to be delivered out of a pagan situation. And now that her family and her will now be able to have a spiritual beginning. When the walls of Jericho come falling, when they fell down, when they settled down, and when the rocks were laid out, when they laid down, when the walls laid down, there was a piece of the wall that remained standing, which was Rahab's home had been. All of her family was saved because of her faith in God, and God not only delivered her, but he delivered her whole family. I think you got to get this. They said, when Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, they blew it up and the walls came tumbling down. Well, we already talked about that. That's another story. I'm not going to get into that. But can you think about it? It said the walls came tumbling down. But her part couldn't have come tumbling down because she was supposed to be safe. And where she was at was on the wall. So God made the walls, except for where she was, because of her obedience. She was delivered in a place that was corrupt, crumbling, and that had fallen down. I can visually see it. Everything but this little piece of building, this little apartment, everything but this little apartment, this little house that had all the people in it, walls to the left, walls to the right, and only where Rahab lived still stood. Can you imagine that? All of the structure falling around you, but you're still safe. I need to talk to somebody right now because you're looking at situations in your life and it looks like everything is falling down. But let me tell you that as long as you keep your hand in the hand of God, as long as you're obedient to what God tells you to do, as long as you walk by faith and not by sight, as long as you become a servant of the Most High God, as long as you are sowing, as long as you are being present for God, as long as you are available, as long as you are obedient, your situation is going to change. While everybody else may crumble around you because they decided to follow the pagan of the world, the situations of the world, because they want to fall in love with the world, but you trusted God, your section of your life is going to be not going to be touched. When we walk by faith, we will not only experience God's deliverance and deliverance of those we love, we will become a tool that God can use to expand his ministry of deliverance. Not only of your family, not only of it, but you're going to become a tool by which God can use to expand his ministry of deliverance. What are you talking about? Listen to this. Let's talk about Rahab after the fall. Let's talk about Rahab after the fall. She ended up marrying a leader of Israel, a harlot, a prostitute. That's how she made her money. She ended up not just marrying an Israelite, but she married a leader of Israel. She went from being a prostitute to a respected wife. Come on, somebody. She went from being a prostitute to being a respected wife. So her past situation changed to a better present situation. And it gets better. Her story gets even better. From when you look at the genealogy of the ancestry of Jesus in Matthew chapter 1, there you will find her name. And you will even find her listed in the 11th chapter of Hebrew in the Hall of Faith. God is so good at delivering people. He can take a bad reputation and turn it into an awesome resume. Ooh, I think we need to write that down. God is so good at delivering people. He can take a bad reputation and turn it into an awesome resume. You need to start clapping God right now because he took a bad situation in your life, a bad reputation in your life, and he has now turned it into an awesome resume. Okay, wait a minute. I'm not out of it yet, but he's going to take that bad situation and he's going to turn that bad reputation and he's going to give you an awesome resume. Your bad yesterday does not mean you can't be a heroic tomorrow and today. Oh, let me say that again and let me correct how I said it. Your bad situation yesterday does not mean you can't have an heroic today and tomorrow. Your bad situation yesterday does not mean you can't have an heroic today and tomorrow. You need to be shouting over here somewhere. Your bad situation does not discount you being a hero. Your bad situation does not discount that tomorrow will change everything. Your bad situation does not discount that today can be changed. You need to hear what I'm telling you on today. Your bad reputation that people have been talking about, that being lying on or whatever, and some of it may have been true, but right now God is going to turn that bad reputation and he's going to give you an awesome resume, and you're going to be a heroic person on today because you have an opportunity to be defined by the results of your life, not by the early chapters of it. Woo! You have an opportunity to hear me. Hallelujah. You have an opportunity to be defined by the rest of your life, not by the early chapters of your life. You have an opportunity to be defined by the rest of your life and not by the early chapters of your life. I'm going to say it 3 times, one for the Father, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Ghost. You have an opportunity to be defined by the rest of your life, not by the early chapters. Tell them to stop reading. We passed chapter 1. We on chapter 5 now. Yeah, in chapter 1, I made some mistake. I might have made some in chapter 2. I may have slipped a little bit in chapter 4, but thank God chapter 5 is here. And chapter 5 is the one that's going to take me to the rest of my life. I messed up in the early chapters of my life. I didn't do the right thing, but it's not defining me for where I'm going in the future. Stop letting people tell you what you did As long as it's not a present situation, don't allow them to tell them who you was, what you did, how you was. Hey, that was chapter 1 through 4, but I'm on chapter 5. And chapter 5 said things is turning around for my good. I say chapter 5 is all things are becoming new. Chapter 5 is I'm a new creation in Christ. Chapter 5 says I'm moving forward. Chapter 5 says I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I'm moving from 5 to the rest of my life. I'm putting behind chapter 1 through 4, forgetting those things which are behind, and I'm pressing forward toward those things which are ahead. I'm getting happy all by myself. I just felt that all by myself. I'm telling you, we got to understand it. So if you made mistakes and errors, maybe even develop a bad reputation because of the poor choices and the wrong decisions you've taken in life, pay attention to the lessons of Rahab. When she exercised faith, it wasn't just with words. She lived it out, walked it out, and thereby met God on a whole new level. We got to start exercising our faith, not just in words, but we got to start living it out. We got to start walking it out, and thereby meeting God on a whole new level. I'm going to say that again. We got to start exercising our faith, not just in words. We got to live it out. We got to walk it out, and then we can meet God on a whole new level in our journey. Rahab's experience with God at a much deeper level changed her family's life. It restored her usefulness to God, transformed her position in society, and it established a new legacy. She will forever be known as a woman who made the hall of faith. She transformed her life because of her experience with God. An experience with God should transform your life, and you should never be the same. Your position should change. Your understanding should change. Your relationship with people should change, and you could be in the hall of faith. You say, wait a minute, they already wrote chapter 11. Okay, they wrote chapter 11, but that doesn't mean you can't be in the hall of faith. So right now you have a decision to make. Though some of you watching right now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to let yesterday define your tomorrow? You define your today and tomorrow, or will you, though you maybe remember the bad things you did in the past, be able to say, that's not who I am today? Am I going to be able to make a decision tonight, this afternoon, that I'm not going to allow yesterday to define my today and tomorrow, but I'm going to remember, and I'm going to, that people trying to remember all the bad things that I did in the past, but I'm going to say, that's not who I am today. And if you don't believe me, ask God, because he sees you in the way that he defines you. And that's all that matters. God sees you, and there's more to you than you understand. And I think that's the problem with a lot of us on today. We have sold ourselves short. We have believed the lies. We have believed the hype. We have convinced ourselves that because of what we did, or because of how we feel we are not worthy, we have allowed the enemy to distract us, to discourage us, and to stop us and cause us to not move forward. I'm declaring and decreeing on tonight that we have come to a point where we will not allow our past to define our future. We will not allow what we used to do to define on who we are right now. Yes, Rahab was an harlot. Yes, Rahab was a harlot prostitute. Yes, that's how she made her living. But when she got a connection with God, when she got connected with God, she went from a prostitute to a respectable married woman of a literal leader who is in the lineage of Jesus Christ. I don't think y'all heard me. How is that? A prostitute in the lineage? Because what you were doesn't define on what God has. I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb, and I had a purpose and a desire for you. I wish I had some help up in here to let you know that because God sees you in the way that he defines you, and that's all that matters. God sees you in a way that defines you, and that's all that matters. How does God see you? Does he see you as someone who recognizes that he's God and God alone? Does he see you as someone who recognizes that he's a God of more than enough? He's a God that can change my circumstance and my situation. He's a God that I can lean not to my own understanding, but in all my ways acknowledge him. He's a God that I can hide in the cleft of the rock. He's a God that keeps me protects me. So let God define who you are, and let him show you that he can deliver you from your past and into a greater and more glorious future. So let God define who you are, and let him show you that he can deliver you from your past. Let God define who you are, and let him show you that he can deliver you from your past, and not only deliver you from your past, and into a greater and more glorious future. Oh, I love conjunctions. Not only is he going to deliver me and define me, but he's going to into a greater and more glorious future. I hope I help somebody on tonight. I hope I help somebody on tonight. He's a God of a second chance, more 5, 6. He's a God of all. I love him because he looked past all of my faults and saw my needs. I wish I had some help up in here and tell him that he's going to deliver me. I like that. Everybody should type in the box, deliver me. That's like Leandra, Lord, deliver me. Deliver me into what you have called. Deliver me out of and into what you want me to do. Deliver me, God. My past shouldn't determine my future. Because you said that you're going to define who I am. I'm going to let you define who I am. And show me that you can deliver me from my past and into a greater and more glorious future. I pray that this has been a blessing to you. I thank God for allowing me to get to where I am on tonight. I didn't know if I was going to, but God, I'm thanking God. How you doing, Ann Patterson? I thank God. Thank you, Prophetess Jackie. Deacon Tamika, I thank God that he allowed me to be able to push through and winning in spite of, because I'm in the deliverance of faith. I'm trusting God in the midst of it all. I know God is able, and I know it was important for some of you to hear what God is saying. Please share this, because somebody needs to know that their past and the last chapters are not the future of their life, because somebody sold them a bag of good. They need to know that tell them to go and read about Rahab and let them know that there's victory in the midst of and winning in spite of. Let them know that God can use you no matter what your history is. Let them know that deliverance from spiritual and current situation. Let them know that not just from yourself, but for those you're connected to, and let them know that your past doesn't determine your future, and let them know that God can take a bad reputation and turn it into an awesome resume. Let them know that your bad situation yesterday doesn't mean you can't have a heroic today and be defined by the rest of your life. Come on, somebody. So let me move on. It's been a blessing. Love you. I appreciate you so very much. Once again, I forgot to say at the beginning, share, so somebody else can be blessed by what's going on here at the Manifest Monday. And I'm so happy to be able to wear this hat. It's been in the closet. Haven't worn Texan in a while because they haven't been reputable, but we got a little respect on now, so I can pull out my Texans hat. I'm a Houston Texan fan. I've never changed. But sometimes you know how you have to hold back some stuff. So, but this time, let's move forward. But one thing about God, he never lost. I don't have to be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Love you. Let's execute and go to work. I think that's how Pastor May said. Or let's go to work and execute, or let's execute and get it done. Anyway it goes, it's time to execute. Amen. Love you guys. Be blessed.